This is Shortham. It is the 5th of July 2020, and this is Trading Zones, episode 25, part 2. Didn't plan for there to be a part 2, but the computer had a different idea, different plan, and the computer's plan overrode my plan and it cut off. So now we are back looking at Apple. And if you look at Apple, Apple did give us a small pullback here right into this 354 area. And we saw a little bit of buying pushed back up into the 368s. This is a new line, but we'll see if we're able to advance above this 368 or we pull back down to the 354. But if you look at this area, we don't see any candle closes on the 4-hour above this 368. So that's what I will be looking for. If you're looking for something decisive as to which direction this could go, look to see if we see any closes above the 368 area as far as candles and strength. If we see that above the 368, this could continue to go up. So that would be something different. And also look to see if we drop back down around the 354s and do the buyer step in again, or do the buyer step out of the way. We see from this area here, this area here, and this area here, this was previous supply. So that was the resistance area, right? And if you watch how this is setting up, let me open this up even wider, drag this down, open this up, make these candles bigger. Okay, if you notice, we couldn't get through here, right? You couldn't see any candle closes above there until when? Until we did. On the 4-hour, this closes above, we ride all the way up here. So what you're watching for is the same setup here. Wait for the rejection. No candle closes above. No candle closes above. Wait for a candle close above, and then look for corresponding volume and see if you can see a squeeze to the upside. That's what I'll be watching for on Apple. You keep an eye out. Let me see when their earnings are. Earnings are at the end of July. So just keep an eye on Apple. I still think they're under pressure because people are unable to go out to stores, but they do have a great online setup that allows you to purchase those iPhones online and those iPads online. But a lot of their revenue has been people coming in to get services done, right? You get services done at the Apple store, and they get you into that store, and while you're getting your services done, they upsell you on other products. So we'll see, because selling ancillary products have been a real profit booster for them. So we'll see how they do, and if the China market, which has opened up and they're doing actually pretty good with how they're managing the coronavirus, as far as we know, right? So we'll see what Apple's numbers are, and I'll keep an eye on that as we are, at all-time highs, right? So we will see. The market is in an interesting place right now, where the as far as COVID-19 is concerned, the market is in an interesting place, because in one aspect we're opening back up, in another aspect we're having challenges. And my daughter's making requests as I'm recording this, just so you know why I it's as if I'm dragging and pausing. So I think just watch everything, because sometimes the technicals do override the fundamentals, and sometimes the fundamentals match up with the technicals. So you'll see a lot of times fundamental things become, what's the word, more catalytic. Probably is not even the proper word. Well, they become more relevant at technical levels, I'll say. So let's move on and take a peek at ZM. And why is this? Give me a moment to get this off my screen. One moment, let me pause. One moment, let me get this off my screen. So here we go. So she was able to sharpen her color pencil. So Now we're taking a peek at ZM, and we remember this selling, right? And look where it reverses. Oh, one of our lines. Check previous videos. Line has been there. 244.08. We see the reversal. We go back to the upside. We pop through our 254 area, and we back test this previous all-time high. We'll see if we buy through there. But remember, a lot of these, coronavirus tickers or tickers that were really, I'll say, just on this momentum breakout because of their value, because people were at home, people were quarantined. They're kind of getting a second leg, right? So let's see if, based on what we're hearing from the states that are having outbreaks again and having issues right now, if this makes all-time highs and takes off to the upside. So this is interesting. We're at a testing the all-time highs. If we can break this, look for more upside. Remember, tickers that are strong usually remain strong, and tickers that are weak usually remain weak. So we want to see if this continues to go to the upside, or if we see a little bit of sell side here. So this should be interesting to watch. I'll be watching ZM if we go back to the 250, 54 area to see if we see any type of buying. And if we pop this top, I may scalp a few off the top on this run back up. But looking at these lines, 244, 254, this 244 held. And you saw the 254, they were trying to hold it, but it just couldn't sell the roll through. But we'll see where we are this week. If you really want specific levels, you probably want to send a message to Elisa, and she can take care of you on that as far as these all-time highs and the levels and what to watch for as far as her pivot strategy. Let's see. CI. Zoomed in now. Let me. It looks weird when you're zoomed in and you can't see the whole chart, right? So on the 4-hour, we see that we're struggling to advance above this 196 area. So look at these wicks. So that's what I look for, right? We didn't get a close. The last time we got a close above these, this 194.71, 195, 196 area, right? You get a close above that. It looks as if you see a rise directly into the 202, right? Look all the way across on the dash line. Rise above it, boom. Rise above it, boom. Rise above it, boom, right? So what are you watching for here? And same thing. Once we got above this 181s, we held. You're going to watch the 190, 88, right? So same thing here. Above the 181s, we're at the 190, 88. Cool, point to point. Next thing you watch, can we get an advance above this 194, 196 area, 96-ish area? If we do, watch for a tag of the 202s. Let's see, when do you have earnings? Earnings are also the end of July. So we shall see how this goes. But just think of the plan I just laid out. Watch those levels, see what you get, right? If you see rejection here, which is possible, could we go back to 181? That's possible. But for me, I would be watching to see if we can hold this 190.88 and advance up into that 194, 195, 196 area. And then do we see a pop into the 202s if we can clear that? So that's just a potential setup that I like, that I'll be watching for. And I'll actually put an alert. Add alert. Create. And I'll pop an alert in there too, because I will forget. Won't lie. I have to rewatch the video sometimes to get some of these levels. I have notes, but sometimes during the week you get so much going on that I don't always get a chance to go, because I have a ton of notes and ton of cues, and I have to remember to go through and set these alerts. Usually after my videos, I'll rewatch my videos and go through and set some of these alerts in case I forgot to set them in the first place. So take a peek at REGN. So we pull back down here around the 606.13 area. We couldn't see any advancement on price below that. Look at these wicks. Price reversed. We're back into this little area here. And what's price doing? Struggling to advance above. And this area is the 619 by 623. Price is struggling to advance above. And we'll see what we get. Weird candles here. So I'm just watching. I'm not taking this. We mentioned that when it gets into the sixes, it gets fascinating. If you look back at the chart, I know it's going to look crazy because it's all, but it gets to the sixes, it gets fascinating. So we'll see. This is, all-time highs. We'll see if we can advance even further up on REGN. But as of this moment, I am not in. My expectation potentially is that we go back to 569 right around this channel area, which I will extend when I hop off. Extend this channel area. I do expect us to go back down there unless we see some, amazing news from REGN. But that's my expectation, that we do pull back to 569. We'll see if that happens. But I'll be watching. And for me, I'll watch for an advancement on price or decline in price below this 601, this 600 level. If I see like a decline below this, then I'll probably be taken into the 591s and potentially looking for a little bit lower, but I'll be scaling out of this. But I'll watch this for a decline, a true bearish decline below this 606.13 area. Everyone's favorite ticker, Tesla. Look at this, right? It's going just consolidation. Look at this consolidation here, this dip, and look at this break. Consolidation to expansion. That's Tesla for you. Look at that. Look at that explosion to the upside. So if you're in Tesla, strength begets strength. They have earnings coming up on the 22nd of July. Be careful. I would not be in anything substantial headed into earnings because those could be interesting. But this is a nice push, and I'm sure the people that are probably playing both sides right now on this push, probably straddling this. So if it goes either direction as far as the options, you're going to make your money. But nice move on Tesla, and just keep an eye on her. I don't have levels for you. You probably want to message Elisa. She'll be able to tag you on this and sort of tell you the different levels that she's watching on it as far as her pivot strategy. But great move on Tesla. But all you'd watch is this. We couldn't advance above this 1019 with any strength. We couldn't advance above with any strength. We couldn't advance above with any strength. Boom. Bounced off this 937. These lines are legit, people. Back up. And then once we break, look at the strength of the break. Then you have a back test opportunity here on this candle, right? You see that? And then we're gone. And Goldman Sachs back into the channel. We expected it, and that's what we got, back into the channel. I'll get back to that later. But what do I expect off this 197? See if we see a rise into the 207. If we, and I am back. Kids are up. So you know what that means. Any office, any room in the entire house that you go to, the kids will find you. So let's see. So if we look at where Goldman Sachs is right now, right? Let's go ahead and extend this this channel that we've had drawn for quite some time. You can check on previous videos. So we are back in the channel. We tested the bottom of the channel right here, right around this 189.55 area. We went back to the middle of the channel, 197.10-ish. So we're right around that area now. And we are back testing. It looks like we'll see if the buyers do step in and give us a squeeze above this 197.10 and we retest the 207.79s. I think overall the economy, the market, and sentiment is in a very interesting place because we're in that in-between place, that gray area where the federal government, I believe, was trying to transition and allow the economy to begin to regain its legs. But the outbreaks have sort of throwing a wrench in the works. So now you're going to have an issue of trying to just that in between move from one phase to the next, or maybe the economy doesn't need as much support from the government to where we're going right back to that. So it'll be interesting to see how all that works, where different states are having outbreaks, different states are, issuing stay-at-home orders, just how all this works, because it's still honestly a giant Rubik's Cube that the government's trying to figure out, the states are trying to figure out, healthcare professionals are trying to figure out, hospitals are still trying to figure out. It's just really a really interesting problem that in the U.S. we just haven't quite solved yet. So we'll see what happens with Goldman Sachs, middle point of the channel. We'll see if we go up, if we go down. If we fail below this 197, I will expect a retest of the 189s and potentially a drift lower down into those 177s. So we'll see if all that happens. But you see these upper wicks and candle structures here around this 184-ish. So if you were to get short, I would be looking to exit some of my position around the 189.55 area or just in the 189s period. And if as we drift lower, I would be out, more of my position around the 186s into 185s. And then I'll be out all of my position into the 177s. That's just me personally, how I would execute this. And I will be looking at Goldman Sachs. I do like to trade it. So we'll see how that goes. Let's see, what else do we have? DLTR. Okay, as we mentioned, it's kind of almost it's not really going anywhere right now. It's trying to go up. So we'll be watching these days here. Back down to 91.85. Looks like it's headed back to the 94s. For me, I don't see a trade here. I don't like this setup. It looks like it's in between, like it's not quite. And some may see this as a breakout. Oh, this is gonna go. Maybe it will. Here, if it makes a higher high here, then yes, we might see a all-time high break and run. But I'm going to leave this alone. I'll be watching it, but not really that closely. I'll pop an alert in here in case it pops above that, but I'm not really going to be watching this at all. Let's move on. And ABBV. So taking a peek at ABBV, since here we're above this 94.68. We popped 98.32. We're seeing a bullish candle structure above the 98.32s. So if this holds, we should see a squeeze into the 101.25. So I'll keep an eye on ABBV. It's at a good level here where if we hold above the 98.30s, the 101s are coming up. So I'll be watching that. That could be interesting on ABBV. I'll be looking for sweeps over on BBS to see if that is confirming the movement in a specific direction. So I'll be watching that for sure. And so you see the levels. Next level is 101.25. We're right around the 98.30s, below that 94.68, below that 92.94. We see this area here, a little bit of a channel. So we're above that. As long as we're above that, we're good. But me personally, I'm just going to watch and see what the buyers are telling me. I need a clear intraday setup that I like, where the buyers are being clear that, hey, we want this higher. And the sellers are saying, we kind of want this lower, but we're not willing to, jump in front of a moving train. So I want to see how this goes on ABBV. Before we get to the spot, let me check the McDonald's. Okay. And McDonald's bounced off of our 178s. It didn't quite reach the 187s. But we have to see if we see one of these moves here where it does this and then does this and retest the bottom of this little channel area. So this is interesting on McDonald's. I would keep an eye on it. Pardon me, an eye on it to see if, one, do we see advancement into the 187s and potentially into the 191 area? Maybe we reject there or we buy up into that. We'll see. Or do we pull back and go back down to the 178s? Keep a peek on their earnings, which is the end of July. They usually react to earnings. There's usually movement around earnings when it comes to McDonald's, so that should be interesting to watch. But below the 178s, you see the 171s, and above the 191s, you see the 196s. But I don't think we're going to get that range movement this upcoming week. And range meaning like just expansion. I don't think we're going to see any expansion this upcoming week. We might get a little bit of contraction, I think, but I don't think we're going to see any expansion. So we'll see. And last up is the SPY. So the SPY, if we look at, this is what we would be looking for, right? That's when we did our last video. Dropped, curved. Buyer stepped in above 302, gave us a squeeze. We tapped the 315 and came back down. So going into next week, what I would be watching on this is if we can pull back into the 307s and the buyers step in, then we have an opportunity for another leg. But if we pull back and we crack below the 307s and we start to dip here, we see some sell side activity, then I think we could end up back down here at the top of this channel around 294. So I would keep an eye on this. It's going to be an interesting week to see who's in control, who's in the driver's seat. Is it the Bears? Is it the Bulls? And the levels around SPY are to the upside, 315, 320, 42, 328.70. To the downside, let's see, 308, 302, and 294. So I would keep an eye on the SPY. It's going to be an interesting week to see which narrative has the heart of the market. Where's the sentiment going to be? So that's going to be really interesting. If you like this video, please tap the like button. And you may also subscribe to our YouTube channel, Power of Pivots, where you can look forward to receiving more content like this from me, but also content from Elisa as she shares how she utilizes her Power of Pivot script to find wonderful entries intraday, pre-market, post-market, and also with the futures. Thank you so much for your time. Have a wonderful week of trading and please remain safe. And happy 4th of July to those in the U.S.